sure I'm familiar. Well, hi, Ootori! Welcome to another Music Monday stream. We haven't done one of these since the new model, I don't think. Yeah, like close to close to 2 months. God, I feel like there's just not enough time to stream. Maybe I should stream for longer or do something else. I don't know. But nevertheless, welcome. Glad to see some of you here ahead of time. And there were a few things I wanted to talk about before we actually get into it. One, I hope the BGM isn't too loud. Because I made this myself and like, I don't know, I definitely hear it differently in my headset than like you guys who are currently watching do. So if it's good or if it's not, let me know ahead of time. Also, we got like a little TV so we can watch the animations and stuff ahead of time, or like while we're doing stuff. So the first major announcement, I kind of mentioned it, I guess a few times, but soon, maybe next week, depending on the how many of you like put in submissions, but probably the week after, I'm doing a viewer submitted karaoke. Now there are a few like unspoken rules here. Don't submit songs that are like obviously going to get me banned off of YouTube. And of course I have the final say on which ones that I actually end up doing, but I think it would be super fun. You guys can head to my Twitter. There is a 7-day poll somewhere in my amalgamation of tweets. And yeah, just vote on songs or link songs that you would like me to sing, and we'll see about it. The next thing, party rock anthem. Okay. The next thing would be a few of you asked me about last night. Mori Calliope, Death Chan Sensei herself, put out a new song called Off With Their Heads. And man, I mean, if you've been on Twitter or Reddit for like basically any amount of time in the last few hours, you've probably heard some people talk about this. And so it's, BGM is a bit loud. Okay. Let's turn it down here to where the other BGMs are. All right. Hopefully that fixes it. Again, I hear it kind of separately. It's like super quiet on my end, so I don't know what it's like for you guys. But either way, so Off With Their Heads is a song that she released that more or less talks about how, if you want to do something and make something of yourself, you got to just do it. And kind of ignore everything else around you, and the people who don't really go the full 10 miles, who is Mori, oh man, alright, well, you're a bit behind on the times, Chief. Mori Calliope is a Hololive EN talent. She raps, and she's pretty good at it too. I'm not huge into the hip-hop scene, but some of her tracks, they slap. They're pretty good. And this came out last night. It's at least in my Twitter sphere and subreddits, it's been talked about quite contentiously. Because there's a few lines that basically say that, like, if you're not putting out content, you don't really deserve it. You don't deserve the rewards compared to the people who do put in the work. And that comes off pretty hard on some people, which is the point. The song itself is also not very pleasant to listen to. Like, as far as music composition goes, I probably won't end up doing this one on a like actual Music Monday where we go through the song bit by bit, because it's very abrupt, it's very sudden, and it's not composed to be nice to hear. And I think that was kind of a genius intentional move. But basically my take on it is, as long as you are making content, it doesn't really matter what the content is, but if you want to like take, for example, being a VTuber seriously, or being a musician seriously, an artist seriously, a writer seriously, anything, right? if you want to do anything that like you're otherwise passionate about and you make content and like progress towards that goal of yours, then this song is not necessarily for you. It's meant to serve as a motivation to like keep going. And everyone who basically says, like me, for example, right? I say quite often that I can't draw. I have never been able to draw. I will likely never be able to draw. That mindset, this song basically slaps you or slaps someone like me upside the head and says, well, if that's your mindset, then you basically deserve not to be able to draw, because I'm not putting in any of the effort. I'm not putting in any of the work. So it's only natural that I would not be able to compare with people who do. So basically, if you're doing the work, if you're putting out content, keep going, you know, head to the top of the mountain is basically what it says. Otherwise, I recommend everybody else to go listen to it. I will definitely be talking more about it on the PizzaCast on Thursday, over on Miyu's channel, or if things get desperate, also on Jupiter's channel. So that is about all I want to say on that, because today we are looking at Kiara, who is also a Hololive EN talent. She put out an original song quite a while ago called HINOTORI, and I have dodged it. I have dodged this song like most people dodge bullets, trying not to hear it. I have also not really heard Kiara sing since her debut. So it's been quite a while since I've like really gotten a solid opinion of Ne-sama's ability here. So the way that this is going to work is we're going to listen to it, and then like when something happens that I feel like is worth talking about, I'll probably like, you know, be like, yo, let's talk about this. Though it's pretty likely that what's actually going to happen is we're going to listen to the whole thing uninterrupted while I kind of like think about it, and then we're going to go bit by bit. So with that said, let's go ahead, get it up here, and hopefully the volume is good. Alrighty, we are in a major key. DMCA will not like that? Yeah, I'm sure. Oops. I wonder if there are some things. Yep. Oh, that's good. So far, I like what I hear. There's a few things here and there. Oh. Okay. All right, so that was HINOTORI from Takanashi Kiara. Berkeley Facts and Logic. It's good, Birdman. Yeah. So, okay. I wanna just like say straight up, it's a good song. This is, I would put it like above a bop. You know, it's pretty good. Probably a song that one of these days I'll like randomly remember and be like, oh yeah, dude, I want to jam out to that. It's good. I really like the chorus. Let's see if I can find it here. I have a slight complaint with how the video is made. I wish that the captions were like actually in English instead of Romaji, but you know, it is what it is. The lead synth was kind of, oh man, it kind of took me back to like the pseudo sci-fi like anime opening kind of thing, where it's got like a spacey synth on top of like traditional rock instruments. Yeah. It really hit like an anime OP. Her pronunciation is a little weird, but I think that's kind of just like a charm of how she talks and does things. Again, haven't really heard much from her since her debut, so I'm a little, I mean, it's basically like a re-debut all on its own. Let's see if I can find, oh, yeah. So this pre-chorus here, I really like how it sort of breaks down, because the song starts and it goes, right? It just goes. We have this really cool intro. Yeah, the piano slides down and then everything just starts. I really like how behind, hold on. I like how the percussion and the guitars kind of do this like da 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 da. I really like to hear that for the kind of driving percussion. And the arpeggio from the synth, it's pretty good. And then we're like, yeah, so right here we instantly slow down, but it's not like the movement has stopped. You still have this driving motion, but instead of the instead of the da 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 da, we go like da 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 da. It keeps the momentum, but still changes things up enough to know that this is kind of like the calm before the storm. And I really like how the vocals and the orchestra below really just kind of hammer it down. That's like, all right, hold up, this is where shit gets real. And then right here it picks back up. Now right here, I would have wished I heard something else. What I wanted to hear would be something like a, you know, instead of just the straight harmony, something like a delayed would have been like way cooler to lead into the chorus. I will live on to keep fighting till the dawn, then breaks into an instrumental. Yeah, the words are kind of something else too, but I'll get to that in a minute. Now this is pretty standard in a lot of anime music. It looks like we have like a brief key change going into the chorus. And again, with the kind of like picked up speed, I feel like that makes a lot of sense. And what's super cool is if you listen carefully, you know, again, you have the guitars and percussion, you know, right back to the da 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 da, but there's this synth. It's like a Fargo or something that kind of like, it makes these like wee sounds, but it acts as a sustaining chord on a single note, which kind of gives you this contrast of things like reaching out, but it's sort of subtle. Over top of the more driving percussion. Now what's nice is she sits on this note like consistently throughout each of these passages. It's like a multiple times throughout the song, and I really like the repetition of that phrase, but every time she does it, it's a little different. So if we go to the start, da 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 da. All right, and there's something else that I want to talk about there. But first, the whole idea of repetition and contrast could not be better explained than that entire sequence. You know, like I said, so we have the basically every single time that she starts up a new line, and then it goes into something else. So it still brings you back to that familiarity. Actually just use the same recording for chorus. Well, that depends. That's more of the mixer's job. Generally during recording, you'll sing it all the way through, like without repeating it. And then the person who mixes it more or less decides if one recording is better than the other, because there's always the chance that for the last chorus you change things up. And you don't want to have to like re-record the whole thing. So the answer is kind of both. For singers in particular, we typically just go through the whole song. Also, you also want to do that so that in the event that you perform it live, you don't screw it up. You never, ever want to get yourself into a position where you're relying too much on the editing. Also, my BGM has been on the whole time. I deeply apologize. Holy crap. I meant to turn it off. I can't hear it in my own headset because it's so quiet. Oh man, that's a fukaku right there. All right, so the other thing that I wanted to talk about. Okay, so this is so cool. This is so cool, right? Because we are led to believe basically throughout the whole song that it's in like A major. This one. And then the chorus, you know, it follows along with that by kind of going into the D major. Or I guess that would be not D major, G major. That's what I meant. Right, because we have a key change from A then to G, but what she does is that she does this. we go into E major at the very end, which is related to all of those other chords throughout the circle of fifths, but not in really a complex way. But I really, really, really like how she just naturally leads into what's basically a totally different key. And I love, love, love the use of the melody sitting on the third instead of the root of the chord. It's such a good resolution to use, like, all the time. If you're ever gonna make like a pop song, that's like the way you nail people in. The vocals here are a perfect like mirror of the first verse, but here instead of a lot of the guitars and percussion, we have this huge focus on the synth and the bass. All right, and then the guitars come back. But that synth, it does like a really good job of kind of keeping up the pace and giving like a sense of urgency. Well, the bass itself is not a synth. Well, or if it is, it's not meant to be. When I say synth, I more refer to like the electronic-ish sound. It's in the upper register. It's arpeggiating the chords. But that's likely like an actual bass, and it's definitely a good choice here. And then the guitars come back. And man, oh god, that's the best part right there. When the synth hits up the octave and then it goes into harmony with itself. Right when the guitars come back. Da, 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 da. Oh man, that is absolutely so good. I don't know about the word answer right here. I always feel like her R's are super like curved. They're what you would call like a hard R. And typically in music, that's a really bad thing. You never, ever, ever do that. You always want to keep your mouth as open as possible whenever you're singing. This is not only to help control your volume, but also so that you can like the way that like sound works when coming out of your mouth is that overtones and stuff will like curve with the intonation of like your lips, right? So if she was saying answer, but instead she said answer, right? It comes out different. And I get that it's not really her fault. You know, English isn't, I don't think it's her first language. And also she's just like multilingual in general. But this is like, it's kind of yikes, chief. I would prefer her to say answer instead of answer, but... I would have preferred to hear a better harmony here. We have the other part of her voice in like the higher register, which creates like a sixth. So what do we have? Like da 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 da. Something like that. And so the third would be where it's like something like that. I can't think about the notes off the top of my head. My sight singing is not as good as what it was. Tell that to blues singers. Also, who has a song called Answer with a hard R? Yeah, again, that's pretty yikes. Hold on. Oh yeah, I guess I just want to hear a harmony here in general. because this makes it like a perfect mirror to the previous pre-chorus, with the exception of the different words. But I feel like it could have been spiced up a little bit more with like a harmony here, and maybe like tone down the instrumental a little bit. Obviously the song is meant to be like really, really driving, and I get that, but having like a nicer break here, like for example, basically take out the guitar and maybe most of the drums, and have like a piano or something. I think that would have made this like really, really good. And then they come back here with the synth. And again, I really want to hear like, but hey, and then dot 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 dot. And this is fine to remain the same. Oh man, that's another thing that I really want her to do in this song. I want her to stick on the notes a little bit longer. Come to light at the break of day. And then, you know, I get that if you were doing this live, you would have to do multiple takes, where this would start underneath the sustained note. But man, I feel like just cutting it off right there ruins the whole point of that resolution. The break of day. This breakdown is really good. Except the words don't really make any like poetic sense. If you were to write all of the lyrics to HINOTORI out and then read them as they were a poem, it'd probably be pretty good. But I really wanted something like the word astray to rhyme with destiny. I've been trying to find my destiny, but they keep pushing and pulling me to a place where I can't see, right? I feel like that would have been way better. I think here the percussion shouldn't have used the snare, and it should have just been the bass drum going like dot 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 dot. You know, the standard kind of synth-y build-up, like, you know, for like house music or something. And again, I really want this what would it be? It'd be you know, again, kind of that deceptive resolution up here. The guitar solo here, I feel like doesn't make any sense. What I would have preferred to hear is another chorus, but with almost all of the instruments like gone. Like the guitar and maybe like crashes on the drums. Basically just like a complete slowdown of the chorus. And then when she gets done with it, then it builds right back up with the guitar solo. That's how I would have done this. She does it right here. But if you were to swap these around, I feel like it would have been better. Also, the guitar solo could have been going for 4 more bars and probably been better. I do like the difference in percussion here. Otherwise, this is good. This is a perfect mirror of the first chorus, but because the second chorus was different, it's fine here. And this is perfect. This is the only reason you would not sustain on those notes. This ending could not be any better. Um, like the whole thing I was freaking out about, where like she should sustain on the notes. What she does here is the only reason you would never do that. To luminance, I'm in the next life too. I promise I will find you. Oh god, it's so good. Though she probably could have sustained a little bit more on the U. Though maybe not, because again, there's a lot of key changes and it wouldn't have sounded as good. And the ending kind of kills it for me. I love her voice from Ore-sama. Have not seen. Her voice is a lot better than I remember it. Again, you know, when I first heard her sing in her debut, I get that she was nervous, but her shiny smiley story, it didn't really get me. Though this is really good. Damn, it's good. But I would have really preferred for the ending, like that ending synth that was like da 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 da. I would have preferred it to mirror her last like set of lines here, just in the new key. Instead of just being like a perfect mirror to the intro. Da la da 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 da. And that I think it would have been stronger. I don't like fade out outros in the sense of like songs that are supposed to be really driving. I want them to just kind of stop, you know? That's what I really, really like, because it kind of retains that power. And oftentimes it can leave the listener feeling like, whoa, you know, bruh, that was an experience, right? But just fading out, I feel like it, I don't know. It's great for songs that are a lot slower and are kind of meant to drive you a little bit more emotionally, because then it kind of leaves you lingering. But for songs that are high energy, I feel like it's a little bit of a, like, I don't want to say let down, because it's not bad. It's not the worst thing you could do. But I really like to keep the energy. You keep the energy going the whole time, and then you just, it's done. It's done. And the only way you get it back is you start all over again. It's kind of like adrenaline, right? You know, adrenaline hits you and you're going. And then it's just like, all right, we're good. And then you're like, bro, wait a second. I wasn't done. Ultimately, out of songs that I have heard just in general, I rate HINOTORI pretty high. Again, like out of everything I've ever heard in my whole life, I'd probably say a 7 out of 10. I would definitely listen to the song again. And it'll probably stay in my head for quite a while. And ultimately, like, yeah, there were a few issues. I don't know what you're talking about, but it's probably something serious. I'm going to drink tea and watch silently. Hey, man. What we're talking about is music. We're talking about sick beats. More specifically, Kiara Ne-sama's song Hinotori, which I have not listened to since before this stream. Or no, I said that wrong. I hadn't listened to before this stream. I'm like real into kind of the energy that she keeps up throughout the whole song. I think her voice is really good, and it's well suited for this song. Kiara Ne-sama has a very anime-like voice, and I don't mean that to kind of be mean, right? If she were to be the lead singer of like Lisa for Gurenge, I would 100% be down for that, you know? I feel like her voice is just really naturally suited for anime music. And kind of that J-rock and J-pop sort of sound. I think she pulls it off probably better than any of the other Hololive girls. Yeah, I mean, she'd be right up there with, man, Suisei, maybe not Watame, because Watame's voice is very operatic. but she has like a great blend between like proper singing techniques and sort of the cutesy idol. Like Toki no Sora also does this very, very well. So I gotta say, Hinotori slaps pretty hard. Um, it doesn't really leave me with that great of an impression though, and that's super unfortunate. And I think that that kind of comes down to sort of the smaller details where again I really wish she would have just like gone a little bit further in some places, or again swapped around the last breakdown with the guitar solo. uh I feel like the song could be better paced is probably what I'm getting at. It's good. Every part of it is good. I don't. There's not a single bit of this song that I don't like. It's also not really that generic, which is pretty solid. I mean, I feel like that's hard to do, and that's not just because it's an original song with somewhat original sounds. It's just like there's a lot of key changes. There's a lot of key changes. Um, and maybe I'm just like crazy or something, but like the melody to make a song that moves its home note so much and still be catchy is a feat. Like whoever like wrote the instrumental for this, I don't know if maybe Kiara wrote it and then she like, sent it in to a bunch of musicians to like toy around with, or maybe they made it and she wrote the lyrics on top. I'm not really sure the situation, but whoever did the like music for the instrumental, maybe she has it in her credits. That would be like a smart place to look. Hinotori. Let's see. Producer. Yeah. So this guy, Kai Gojo, this guy did it. This man deserves a raise. Or this young lady. I'm not really sure. This person nails it. Nails it. Making a song like Hinotori is a freaking obnoxious nightmare because you have to make it catchy. You have to make it something that people remember, but the way that it's made is that it's always like different. Kagerou nerding out on anime music. This is what I do, dude. This is why I can never listen to music. Like when I'm at work at the day job, or even when I'm preparing for streams, I just never listen to music. I have a really hard time staying focused when there's music in the background, because this is how I am with like literally everything that I hear, even including like generic music that plays on the radio. You bet your buttons when like Katy Perry songs come on, I'm like, oh, I see. She took the high note instead of going to the lower chord progression. I see. That's what makes it a generic American radio song. That's crazy. Seriously, every time. Every time. I cannot listen to music. Lo-fi relaxing beats? No. I can't listen to those either. I actually find a lot of relaxing music a little difficult to listen to because it's not interesting enough. And I end up kind of stressing myself out being like, well, why does it sound like this? What creates this sound? What is the part of the orchestration that really does it? So I don't tend to listen to a lot of that stuff. My favorite kinds of music are anything that like gets my emotions going. Pretty, yes, God, I cannot for the life of me. I cannot for the life of me pick out proper music for D&D sessions. And it's especially hard for Tabletop Tuesdays because I need to pick something that's like royalty free, so I don't get blasted by YouTube. More like high-paced action anime music. So I don't actually like every anime OP. I tend to like most of them, but anything that draws emotion from me, like 100%. Some of my favorite songs are like from Sabaton, some heavy metal stuff. Because not only do they have the driving like emotion, but it's like raw, it's gritty, it slaps, boy. Classic rock, I like a lot of Bon Jovi, Boston, Rush, Dream Theater for the more progressive metal stuff. I like a lot. I like a good amount of country music too. Like, hands off here, boys. There's a good amount. Also, Pendulum. I'm sure every electronic artist has at least to some extent heard of Pendulum. And they have some great music too. Linkin Park and other kind of, Nickelback-ish music. If it makes me feel something, Like if the artist is capable of properly portraying like the emotion of the song, like another great example is Breaking Benjamin's Diary of Jane. God, I love that song. It's so like cringy, but you know, la da 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 da, la da 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 da. Oh boy, it slaps. It slaps. What the heck? It's so good. Um, so no, I'm not specific to anime OPs, though I do like a lot of anime OP. Uh, oh boy, man, you know, I was actually a little worried that I wouldn't be able to make like an hour long stream over a 4 minute song, but I'm pleased that I have been able to do so. All right, that's like every anime OP. But yeah, no, especially when picking out scene appropriate music for D&D, it's a nightmare. I probably spend more time trying to pick out music for D&D than I do like actually planning the session. Because it drives me nuts whenever I hear a song. I'll hear like the first 5 minutes of it. Ooh, I should probably turn the piano off. I'll hear like the first 5 minutes of it and then be like, yeah, this is pretty good. And then later when I'm listening to more of it, there's like one part that I don't think fits, and I'm like, oh wow, it's garbage, I can't play it anymore. And then I just gotta find a new song. But okay, let's go back and we're gonna listen to it again. Oh, okay. So the synth here. Oh wow, it actually does the same thing in both verses. I didn't even notice. Man, that kind of sucks. I thought it was specific to the second verse. So those three notes on the piano, those three chords, oops, those are the only things that the composer gives us to know that the key is changing. And that's kind of messed up, right? So like the average song, usually what it does is that if it's going to do a key change, it like specifically goes out of its way to lead up into it. Disney songs are like the most famous for doing this. You know, how many times have you heard a Disney song and then on the last chorus, it's slightly higher, right? Because the orchestra, what they do is that there's a real long instrumental, and at the very end of that instrumental, they go around the circle of fifths, but instead of hitting the the chord that goes into the last chorus normally, what they do is that they do a false resolution into the relative minor of that chord, and then they use that as like a platform to go to the next key. And it works every single time. Every single Disney song does the exact same thing, and it slaps every time. Because like composers for years and years and years have figured out, I mean, this is like a centuries old like trick of how to make every song like really, really good. Because what you end up doing is that you create the contrast of something new is happening, but if you use the same chords in a new key, you automatically like fulfill the goals of repetition and contrast. Because everybody knows what it is they're hearing, and you can even use the same words, but because it's new music, like in a slightly different key, but not one that's too different from the original, you just everybody just knows what the notes are, even though they've never heard them before. And it's like a super easy way to trick people into like thinking that, you know, something is like really, really cool. A lot of songs do this. I mean, pop music does it. Like I said, almost every Disney song ever does this. And it's not uncommon in anime music either. But here, in this song specifically, we don't get that. Instead, you get three notes on the piano that are in a seemingly unrelated chord, and then she just goes. But the reason they can pull that off is that the chords, the two keys are related. Uh, should I sell my wife for Bitcoin? No. What you should do is you sell your Bitcoin and go into GME. And keep your wife. So anyhow, yeah, the reason she can pull this off is that she lingers on da da da, which that note doesn't really belong to the bass chord, or like the key signature of the, like, you know, verse and such, but it's related. And because it's related, I mean, it's in the chord, but it's not supposed to be its own chord. And then the piano kind of does the same thing, and then we move into the new key. And right here, that's something else that I wanted to point out. So the vocals remain more or less the same throughout this progression of the chorus. But here, right here, can you catch the difference? I've not heard a better icebreaker. I mean, yeah, it's pretty good. But there's a key difference between this part of the chorus and all the other ones. I want to see if you guys know what it is. I'm going to start from the start. All right, you guys catch it? Or I need to play it again. Because the thing I'm trying to point out here, it's a little subtle, but once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Ouch. Sorry, had to like sneeze. I'll give you a hint. It's not really in your face. I guess I just kind of said that, but it's the orchestra, but it does something like really clever. And what that is if you hear the orchestra below, right? I'll try and sing along to it. Da 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 da. Yeah, so they go into the chord progression is the same throughout both, or the first two repetitions, but in the last one, when Kiara goes back to the main part of the melody, or the motif there in the chorus, the orchestra goes down instead of going back up, and that is also an excellent use of repetition and contrast, and I think it's like worth pointing out because it happens every single time. But for I don't know about you guys, but for me, it kind of slaps, bro. I mean, it sort of catches me off guard because even though I know it's coming, I'm glad that it's there, because it provides a little bit more space, and it offers a slightly different context. It would be great if I knew what the words were in English, but here we are. But the difference there in the last set of chords for the chorus really helps set up that something new is happening without slapping you in the face about it. It's a very, very good lead-in. Also, this effect is like really sick. Oh, okay. I wonder if that was there every time. But... Okay, so it was there again. Okay, okay. Okay, I don't know about the intro to that guitar solo. I would have personally wanted them to go from the bottom up and then back down, but it is what it is. All right. So yeah, I feel like my overall opinion is that the song is good. Just plus or minus a few other things. And I think that about does it. So we'll do turn that off. Close this. All right. Well, that's about all I had for the stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it. There are a few songs that I was thinking of doing for the next time we do something like this, which will probably be next week, and then the karaoke will be the week after. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. All right, man, I'm glad that I have like little notes. So I am pleased to announce that I will be doing a very, very special Valentine's Day release. It'll be my first official cover, and I am collaborating with somebody very, very cool. I'm super duper excited. All of you guys should be super duper excited. It's gonna be one of my favorite songs. I've been like trying to get this as a thing for me to do since like actually last June. And so after forever, I've managed to find somebody that was willing to do it, and then also was just like awesome enough. So please look forward to that. It's going to be a bunch of announcements about it, probably starting tomorrow. I'll probably talk about it during the D&D stream, and then also like, you know, all the way through up to the Pizza Cast. On Wednesday, make sure all of you guys come watch me freak out about Hololive waifus again. We're going to aim for a bit of a longer stream. My goal is 5 hours, but honestly, if we can make it to 4, I'll be pleased with that. So that about does it for announcements. I want to thank you guys for showing up and being legit. What happened? I have not. Personalities, yeah. Well, yeah, so what we might do, Breakdown Somnus by Yoko Shimomura. I have not heard of that one. My next, the song I was probably going to look at next was likely going to be the opening theme of Hoseki no Kuni, or Land of the Lustrous, which is a super, super jazzy kind of, God, it's all sorts of weird. It's good, but in a way that's like kind of complicated. Honestly, it like makes my head hurt how good it is. But another option was a personal favorite, which is the opening theme for Arpeggio of Blue Steel. Oh, and then another one is possibly, well, maybe viewer submitted, and we can do like another like blind listen. And that about, yeah, I think that's about it. So I will see all of you guys tomorrow at D&D with the boys. So until then, I will say, Hot Kagerou! God damn. I need to get another outro, I feel like. It's Kagerou. It's Kagerou. Maybe like, I don't know. Ootori? No. Oyasumitori. Man, I don't know. Rhyming is hard. Making stupid puns is hard. Hate it. By the way, guys, I think you're the best.